Hi, guys. I wanted to talk to you about an analogy that has recently come to my attention. Hopefully, this helps. um, there was a 10-year drought that happened a while back that emptied Lake Mead, which is near Las Vegas, um, by several feet. It just lower than it had been probably ever since the dam was made. And this was at Hoover Dam, if you've heard of that, out of Las Vegas. And when it was lowered so low, what they found was human remains. And some of these humans had been missing for a while, and they figured that they drowned fishing. And one of them, they're not sure what happened to, but one of them was a person who was stuffed into a barrel and shot in the head. So, obviously, murder. And the analogy that I want to make is that the rain and the snow represent blessings from heaven, from God. And it fills up our lakes. It waters our food. It's life-giving. And when the waters went really low in this 10-year drought, it was hard on the farmlands. It was something that we were all, praying for relief from this drought. And sometimes after a crime has happened, I think all times, but sometimes crimes happen and are readily seen and fixed, and sometimes they get hidden and there needs to be a resolution. I don't know if you guys have heard of that doctor. I think many of you have, or scientists that studied water molecules, and he would get jars of water and he would put a word on it like hate or love, etc. And like other studies you may have seen with rice bread or plants, even the words made a difference in the molecules of the water. All things, all atoms, all molecules, everything worships God and demands justice. And so this water that had been sitting on this murder, hiding this murder all these years, revolted and cried out to God. And we had to kind of go through this suffering period of drought in order to uncover this murder. And sometimes this is what happens with us, especially with child abuse and child rape. Sometimes our memories are submerged. And what happened with me, for example, is that I kept going like everything was fine. The memories were broken. I couldn't handle what had happened to me, nor was anybody else in a place to handle what happened to me. And I did what I had to do. I got up every day. I went to school. I did my homework. I worked towards my goals. I went to work. Became a mom. Just kept going. And everybody expected this level of output from me. And it was breaking me. It was tearing me apart. It had been since I was a teenager. And I couldn't go at that pace anymore. No matter what, no matter how many times I, begged and pleaded and prayed and went to all of these healing modalities, and I could not understand why God wouldn't just put his hand out and save me and pull me out of this drought or this situation. And things actually got worse. As I've said before, it's when you're doing your healing work, it's kind of like peeling an onion. And things got worse. And, the water got really, really low, dangerously low, to the point where I believed I'm still waiting, waiting for that miracle. But I can testify to you that it will come. And I've seen little answers to my prayers, little rainstorms coming. But what happened was finally I hit the bottom of that ravine and saw it was uncovered, my murder, my rape. It was really hard. It was hard to validate. It was hard to accept. So many emotions came out. Nobody was really there for me because they couldn't see it because it wasn't physical, but my husband started to see it, my kids started to see it, and it was very, very, very real. And as I started to validate that I was raped by this man and killed for a while, and that I've still been living this life with every molecule in my body saying murder, 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 rape, rape, rape. Every molecule in my body demanded to be seen, demanded this justice to come out. And although in this life, the man who raped me will never be caught, there will be justice. There will be justice, and I know that. And I've actually had a lot of relief in being able to move past what has happened and kind of make sense of it and validate and give myself loving compassion, and even separate, because the waters themselves start to mirror, like in those bottles of water that had hate on it, they start to mirror the murder and start to believe that they're bad. And that's what happens to our bodies. It takes in the rape, the abuse, the darkness, just the label that the other person might have on themselves, or just the label of the sin that was put on you, and it gets really confusing. But to be able to have that dam empty out and to look at it and to separate the two, this was him, this is me, it really made a big difference. And after that body was removed, the rains came back, and the water, the dam started filling back up again. So I hope that helps. I don't know if it does, but for me, it just gives me hope that God has a plan. There's a reason sometimes that things don't go the way that we think that they are. There's a reason sometimes we think he doesn't hear us, he doesn't care, he's not listening. But when things got really, 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 really bad for me is when finally some of my family, my immediate family in my home at least, saw, and it makes a difference.